of a sudden I meet Tim Mulcahy, who does everything first class. He dresses first class, he acts first class, he lives first class, he drives first class. And he likes to do meetings so well that people want to come again and bring a friend. You find another owner that likes to give the presentations. I'm telling you, we keep in mind that he's the owner. He's going to show the plan tonight. The owner's going to show the plan tonight. What's the name of it? And that is right now to tell you that I'm excited about the quality, about the class, about the integrity, about the work ethic, about just everything. I like shopping with him mostly. So I'll tell you this, my good friend, Tim Mulcahy.
Folks, thank you so much. That's quite an introduction, Lennon. And since we were fortunate enough to bring Lennon on as our master networker here at Truestar, and I'm going to run through a little bit about Truestar's history, because we're not, to be clear, we're not a networking company. We're a health and wellness company that chose to become a networking company. And we spent a lot of years developing and maintaining the world's leading healthy lifestyle website and North America's top-rated vitamins and supplements. And when we decided to become a networking company, it was exciting for me because my background is also in direct sales. So when I met Lennon, it was, wow, I love this guy because I love listening to him speak as much as anybody else does. Lennon's going to be speaking here later this afternoon. Dr. Andrew's going to be speaking later this afternoon, telling you a little bit about how to get healthy with Truestar. I'm going to be running through right now just the background of Truestar, so you understand the background of Truestar, you understand my background, and then I'm going to run through a little bit of my sales training, which hopefully can help you take yourself to a new level. Because if any of you have come on board and you've started to listen to my CDs, Eric, at least Eric, okay, Eric started listening to them. It's from a long career as first of all, I left school when I was 16. I started knocking on doors when I was 16. I did it for 9 years, and I've trained over 100,000 direct salespeople, either direct business to business or door to door, either one, whether it's commercial or residential. And a lot of them have been extremely successful. I bumped into one of them when I was at the immigration office in Buffalo on Wednesday when I was flying here. I stopped through to get my L1 because I'm going to be working a lot more in the States, and I just wanted to be sure I had a work permit to work here. I'm going to be spending more time in the States. And I just had to renew my work permit. I love it. And in Salt Lake, honestly, I love Salt Lake too. I mean, Lennon and I just sat here and, yesterday just met one great person after another, and today seeing the quality of the people in here, it's exciting. The people are coming in here and they're grateful to be here. My goal is to fill up the Grand Ballroom here at Grand America for a session. That's my goal here. And when I was going through immigration, my immigration lawyer had another guy there, and I kind of recognized him. He said, "Oh, Tim, you saw him at Kelly's wedding. He's with Just Energy." Yeah, and he'd been with the company from when I'd been there. It was maybe 10 years, 12 years ago since I'd seen him before, and he was getting his work permit because he works in New York with Just Energy. And when we were driving, my immigration lawyer was driving, he was asking me what kind of cars, what kind of car do you drive down in San Diego? And I said, well, I'm not really a car guy, but, I did go out and buy a Ferrari California. Well, I had what happened, I split up with my girlfriend, and my brother, who's a big Ferrari guy, and my partner's a big Ferrari guy, said, go buy a car. And I went and bought a car, and it wasn't quite the same thing. And it really isn't, so I'm not really a car guy, but I said, well, I drive one. And, so he said, well, what's a Californian? So the other guy from Just Energy pulls out his book and says, well, here's the book on Ferraris right here. I drive a 430. I mean, the whole idea is we're here to teach you to become successful. I mean, that's what Lennon does for a career. That's what he does for a living. He's one of the best in the networking business about it. So when I met Lennon, it was a no-brainer because I've been a public speaker, a trainer, a sales trainer, a motivator, and trained many other people to be motivators. One of my top motivators signed on this morning. One of my top motivators at Just Energy, and through my various other companies, been with me since 1986, off and on here and in the UK, signed on with John McFadden today. Tony Cohen from New York City, you'll see him on the leaderboard soon. He just had enough of Energy, and he signed on. But when I met Lennon, it was, wow, it was just, we connected right away, and he was such a phenomenal speaker and leader and teacher. I could see the heart. And I think it's so important that you have the heart, and you need to have heart to be successful. And at the same time, you need to really believe in your product. And I just want to give you a little bit of background on Truestar and how did the concept come about. So if you look at Truestar and you say, well, how did it come about? What happened with Truestar? I mean, I was a salesperson and a direct sales trainer before I was a health educator. And if you look at the Truestar background of Truestar, I want to tell you, because I fully believe that the 5 key areas of health are the Truestar of health. This is where the name comes from. So the name's not about you becoming a true star, but yes, you can become a true star. If you hit the highest rank or if you follow the program, you're going to feel like the true star inside you. So for me, the 5 key areas, nutrition, exercise, vitamins, attitude, sleep, these are all areas that have profound changes, made profound changes in my life. And they impacted my business career and my income. So I was a door-to-door salesperson. I started when I was 16 years old. The first year I made $9,000. $9,000. My next year it was 15, then it was 22, then it was 40, then it was 80. I jumped from 40 to 80. The year that I jumped from 40 to 80 was the year that I started exercising before work. So if you take a look at the 5 key areas, exercise is one of those 5 key areas. So if you're thinking, first of all, right now, hey, how can I improve my network? How can I improve my business? How can I improve my cash flow? How can I build my team? Well, you understand that in the things that I research right now, because my focus is twofold. My focus is to support the growth of the company, to support the sales and marketing initiatives of the independent distributors. It's also to continue to be at the forefront of education on health. And that's really what Truestar is. We are at the forefront. We own the world's leading healthy lifestyle website. We spent over $20 million on this website, and we maintain it with 12 full-time IT people, with 4 full-time customer service people, with 8 or so full-time finance people, with full-time educators, health educators like Dr. Andrew Campitelli that's going to speak today, and Jillian Brown, and we also have other health educators on contract that work with us. So the key thing here is we're here about health education, but the health education for me, so here's the interesting thing about it, because I know that most of you came here today, to hear what I had to say and to listen to Lennon and listen to Andrew, or just to be here and be part of the Truestar group here. And the thing about it is, if you really want to learn how to make more money, follow the Truestar program. So if you go through the 16 keys to success, you'll see that one of those is follow the program. Now, I would think that follow the program, in my mind, would be number 1. Now, I know Lennon's going to argue with me. He's going to say, well, you've got to, you're going to have to make a list and contact and show the plan and follow up and follow through. Well, yes, you are. Of course, you're going to have to do that. That's what networking's all about. So in my business, I was in the door-to-door business. So when you take a look at the door-to-door business, you'd say that, going and knocking on a door, if I was to ask all the people in the room right now, if we were to go down the street and drop you off on a residential street in the neighborhood down right here right now, how many people would feel comfortable going and starting to knock on doors right now and sell something at the door?
Yeah.
All right. So we got 1? We got 1, 2. Okay, we got about 5 or 6. Well, that's great. Hey, listen, this is a superstar team here, so it's 5 or 6. If you'd ask a room of 50 people on average, how many people would be comfortable going and knocking on? Wouldn't be very many. People wouldn't be that excited, to go and knock on doors. They'd be nervous, because it's sort of like public speaking. You say that public speaking is one of the scariest things in the world. And why is it so scary? Well, you might be criticized. You might not do a good job, then you'll be criticized. Fear of criticism. Napoleon Hill's 6 Ghosts of Fear. It's the same thing. Public speaking, knocking on a door, fear of criticism. It's all part of a fear of criticism. So you go and knock on a door. So I had to get up, and I had to not just go and knock on doors. As a matter of fact, I didn't just knock on it. I learned to relish knocking on doors, because, of course, at first I was afraid. But then once I got over my fear and I started knocking on doors, wow, I became really good at knocking on doors, to where I could get in 8 or 9 out of doors, and I could close 80% of the people that I talked to and be dropped off anywhere in Canada, the US, or the UK. It wouldn't matter where I went. I'd be able to do that. So to be able to do that, if you think about that now, if you're just recruiting people to represent a leading health and wellness company, everybody today is into health and wellness. So the great thing about it is we've got a great product, because everybody wants to be healthier. If you're young, you want to be healthy so you can look good. If you're a baby boomer like myself, you want to be healthy so that you slow down the aging process, you still have some energy, and maybe you protect your wealth, because we know that it costs us money when we become unhealthy as well. So, there's lots of reasons that you want to become healthy. Now, there's a huge relationship, this is what I'm trying to say, there's a huge relationship between being healthy, following the Truestar plan, and being a great networker. The books that I'm reading right now, I'm very interested in quantum physics. Okay, I'm not going to explain it to you because I don't really understand it. Okay, but I read a lot about it. And, intention. Where is your intention? What is your intention? What do you intend to do? What do you intend to do with yourself? What do you intend to make out of it? How are your intent? Are you able to transfer your intentions? So, here's Dan, who's one of our leaders right now, and you'll see him on the leaderboard a lot. Dan has an intention to be successful. He has an intention to be a leader here. Okay, now if you have an intention, I had an intention to build Truestar into the leading health and wellness company in the world. That's still my intention. I meditate on that intention every single day. Okay, so I meditate on that intention. And from meditating on that intention, all of a sudden someone like Josh Fair shows up that, we sit down and work out a phenomenal compensation plan, and then Josh introduces me to Lennon, and next thing you know, now we're meeting other great people, like everybody in this room, and then we start to meet people from Texas, and people from Nebraska get involved, and everything starts to happen. How does this intention happen? So you first of all, and this is why I want to go back to this. So the first thing that I did when my income went from $40,000 to $80,000 a year, the first thing I did was I met someone by the name of Mike Edgson, and I took him up and I started training him how to sell. I was the designated sales trainer for the company I was working for at the time, Pro Built Insulation, but they weren't paying me. I was just their top salesperson. Whenever there was someone new that came in, they said, Tim, can you go and train this person how to knock on doors and sell home insulation? And I said, sure. I was an easygoing person. Why wouldn't I? So I took Mike out, and Mike said to me that what we need to do is exercise before work. He said, would you like to go for a run? And I said, well, I'd love to go for a run. I haven't gone for a run since, maybe 4 or 5 years since I left high school. I've been walking door to door, but I haven't gone for a run. I hadn't done any type of formal exercise except knock door to door, or as Zig Ziglar would say, get in the tub, fight the current, and pull the plug, fight the current. Now, the thing is, I didn't take a lot of baths. I took showers, so I wasn't even getting that in. So, the thing is that, exercise, I'm just going to shut this down. So exercise, Mike said, let's go do some exercise. And so I said, I got no running shoes. I'll go for a run. We were at his parent-in-law's farm. So I put the shoes on. And think about it, this was a huge turning moment in my life. Because up until then, see, my income had gone up. It had gone up every year. And I was a good salesperson. I was a really good salesperson. Most people in here are probably good presenters, good networkers, good salespeople. You're probably, good at these things. This is why you came here. This is why you're involved. You're probably good at that. I was good. But I wasn't that consistent. I was not that consistent. So I'd have a good week, and I'd have a bad week, and I'd have a good day, and I'd have a bad day, and I'd have a couple of good weeks, and then I'd have a bad week. And so I said, Mike, I don't have any shoes. And Mike said, well, you can try my, I got an extra pair here. Here's my wife's shoes, and I just crammed into them. Okay. But my feet aren't that big, and hers, I guess, were bigger. So anyway, I put them on. We ran down to the stop sign and back. Now the stop sign, though, we were at a farm. We were on a farm, so it was about a mile down, country mile. It was a mile down, a mile out. It was about 2 miles. I wasn't going to give up in front of Mike. I was huffing and puffing. My face was all red, and it was okay. I got back, and I fought off the nausea. You know what it's like the first time you run 2 miles. You haven't done it in a while. I fought off the nausea, and I went and I took a shower, and I got out of the shower, and I started looking in the mirror. My eyes were a different color than I'd ever seen them before in a long time, and my face was glowing. And I had these endorphins. And the next day he said, have you ever lifted weights before? And I said, well, yeah, my grandparents got me some weights when I was 15 or something, and I was lifting them, and I dropped one on one of their freezers in the basement, and I haven't lifted weights since then. He said, well, let's go. He brought out the bench press, and we went out in the backyard of the farm, and honestly, I couldn't bench press 80 pounds. He needed to spot me for 80 pounds. And then the next day, a few days later, it was tennis. Have you ever played tennis before? And I said, well, I've hit the ball before, but hardly ever. So it was either tennis or weights or running. So it was something every single day. Well, all of a sudden, I started never having a bad day and never having a bad week. And the funny thing about it is I've maintained that. And as I maintained that, I brought on another one of the 5 key areas. So out of the 5 key areas, you've got exercise. So exercise was the first one that I adopted. I always had a good attitude, but I wasn't working on my attitude. Okay, so as a young person, as a baby, now a baby has, unless they're crying, okay? But maybe, you know, as a child,